I'm Batman. Welcome to issue 8 of Comic Cast Video. Jong Lee here.
With Robin.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And today, guess what? Guess what happened on Monday?
Oh, I don't know. What happened?
Michael Keaton apparently is going to be coming back as Batman. And this is according to therap.com. And they say after nearly 30 years, Michael Keaton is in talks to return to the role of Batman to appear alongside Ezra Miller. Yeah, right, like this right here.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
In Warner Brothers' upcoming movie The Flash, the Wrap has learned exclusively talks with Keaton are on the very early stages. It is far from a sure thing and can go either way. No details are currently available about how big or small Keaton's role is. And according to a lot of different people, he's going to be reprising his role as his version of Bruce Wayne and Batman in... It's a different type of Flash crossover, or I guess a Flashpoint movie, but I think the same elements are going to be there. What are your initial thoughts on Michael Keaton returning as the Caped Crusader?
For one, never thought it would happen. This was like, when this news broke, I thought it was a joke, because there's like no way Michael Keaton's coming back. But it's an amazing, like, I guess, future showing like what the multiverse can do for DC. Like, this is an amazing development, I think, and a really cool thing for fans to get to experience something of this magnitude. Like, this is a big thing for the Flashpoint or Flash movie, to have Michael Keaton involved. And I think it's just a really cool thing for all of us fans who have been, watching the movies since, we were kids. I mean, like, the first one with Michael Keaton came out in, 89? Like, I mean, I don't really remember it when it first came out. I was like 1 year old. But still, I watched those movies when I was a kid. And now to see him return, like, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and according to a couple of sources, I thought it was fake too. The first person I saw reporting it was, I think, Daniel RPK, and I had to go check to see if it was his real account, because there's some parodies out there.
I did the same thing.
But I'm a huge fan of the Flashpoint movie and the comic. And whenever they said, oh, yeah, they're going to be doing Flashpoint back in the day, I was like, man, I don't know if this is a mistake, because it's the first time you're going to be really diving into the Flash's story, Barry Allen's story. Do you really want to introduce something that has basically Captain America Civil War, almost? We have all these casting characters from DC, and Barry Allen may get flooded in with everybody else. And I mean, the storyline does primarily surround Barry Allen, but you have so many different characters in there that he may get drowned out, because we haven't necessarily gotten to know Ezra Miller's Barry Allen in this universe. And then they said they were going to go away from it, and now they're back to it. And from all indications, there are reports out there that this could shoot as early as Q1 of 2021. Which means that the script is nearly done. If they're going to use Michael Keaton in it, that means I'm assuming that we're going to get cameos from Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa, and possibly a skinny Henry Cavill. There's a lot of possibilities surrounding everything, and I'm a little more comfortable this time around, just because Henry Cavill is in better graces with Warner Brothers. They're thinking about doing more with him. Gal's about to release Wonder Woman, and Aquaman was a success. So you look at it in that aspect, that I could see it working a little better, but it still makes me uncomfortable that we don't get a complete Justice League free version of a Barry Allen story before we get into Flashpoint. So I kind of wish that Flashpoint would have been like the second or third movie, but it's giving me a little more confidence with everything else that's surrounding it, that it's going to be a little more successful. It's giving me confidence that it's going to be a successful movie. I don't know how good of a movie it's going to be, because we still haven't established Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Yeah, that's the concern. The scope of it the Flashpoint is not a small story. It's a massive story that, I mean, changes the scope and the landscape of the DC comic verse. So to do this out the gate for your first movie with Flash, that's probably still my biggest concern. How do you prevent this from just being like a Justice League 1.5 or whatever, however you want to describe it, to where it takes away from Flash? Because Flash should be the focal point. That's obviously he will be, but are we going to introduce so many characters that it's going to take away from his own character development? Because he's a character that we still haven't gotten to experience standalone, and that's the one concern I still have about this. I think it's cool with Michael Keaton. Like I said, it's very exciting. But like when you rattled off all those names, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Henry Cavill, like are all those people going to be involved? I wonder if you have to scale that back a little bit, because I don't know. Is like Thomas Wayne still involved in this with Jeffrey Dean Morgan possibly? I don't. I mean, I didn't see if that was still like a thing or not.
I would think no, just because in the Flashpoint story, Bruce is the one that's killed. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or his version of Thomas Wayne, takes the mantle of Batman, and he's the more darker version of Batman that kills, and a much darker version of the character. And then Martha Wayne becomes the Joker. So I would assume that I mean, it's going to be a lot of alterations to the storyline, and maybe we won't even see Henry Cavill's Superman. Maybe they replace him with the focal point, maybe Zachary Levi Shazam. That could be a decent replacement for Superman. I mean, it does alter the Flashpoint story a lot because Superman is such an integral part of it towards the end of the run, and I would think that with this Bruce Wayne being introduced, that version of Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton's version of the '89 Bruce Wayne, with that being introduced, I would think that it's going to change the storyline a lot too. And so I think it's going to be elements of Flashpoint. He's going to go back. I think the overall arcing theme may be he's going to go back to try to prevent his mother's death. And he succeeds. He comes back, and all of a sudden the world is in utter chaos, and then Batman is older, and he may be training Batgirl, or we may get a Terry McGinnis sighting or something like that, to where Bruce Wayne is just really old and beaten down, and there's no Superman, and the surface world and Atlantis are at war, and all this different stuff is going on. And I think the whole point of it may be Barry trying to fix his wrongdoing, like he does every single time he tries to fix something. He messes something up, right? So I think that might be the way that they're going, or they could be going. One way they could be going, and I wouldn't mind it. And if they do use Zachary Levi Shazam and replace him in a Superman, I wouldn't be that mad at it. The only concern of mine is you had one movie of Shazam, and you get the character focused a certain way, how he's goofy and very childlike, and then if you have him play the Superman role, it's almost like you're asking him to grow up without a sequel, right? So there's a lot of tricky elements to this, but I'm more excited about this than I've ever been.
It's really exciting, and honestly, I think of it now more like Civil War, in terms of Civil War in name alone was like one of the main things that was the same from the comic, because the comic Civil War is vastly different from the movie Civil War that we got. So I would imagine they would have to do something similar Warner Brothers would have to do something similar for their Flashpoint movie. It would have to just take that core concept of him going back to save his mom, but then from there it's totally different. What do you think? Because what was it? The Hollywood Reporter described his Michael Keaton's Batman as possibly being like a Nick Fury type character for them, and being like a mentor. Like, I feel like that could work. I feel like that's a cool concept for him.
Yeah, and if it does indeed play out that way, then you're talking about setting up Michael Keaton to be that mentor role for years to come. And through all of this, the most exciting thing for me was the possibility of a Terry McGinnis coming in as Batman within the next couple of years, and that kind of rebooting the DCEU and having Terry McGinnis be your Batman. And instead of, oh, is Robert Pattinson going to be the DCEU Batman, which we kind of learned that it's going to stand in its own universe, which, I mean, I don't mind, but I kind of wish that we had a Bruce Wayne Batman established in the DCEU rather than, trying to find a new Batman. But the Terry McGinnis route isn't necessarily a bad decision to go with, and I think that them trying to do something different. I mean, I give them props for it. To be fair, I guess within the last 12 years, we've already had Batman twice, and within the next year, we're gonna have it 3 times within 13 years, right? I think Batman Begins came out in 2008. So 3 times you have Batman and 3 Bruce Waynes. So I wouldn't be too opposed to having Terry McGinnis come in and take the mantle of Batman and take it and see where they go. Because with the last couple of years, Warner Brothers has actually done a very good job with their movies. Very, very good job. There was a hiccup in between Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman and Justice League. There was a bit of a hiccup there, and then you get Aquaman and Birds of Prey, and then you had your standalones with Joker, and you also had Shazam. So they've had a long string, not a long string, but like a short string of run, and I do give them a lot more credit now, and I give them a lot more leeway. And if they go Terry McGinnis route, I would be very, very happy with it.
Yeah, and Batman Begins 2005.
Oh, okay.
Just so people don't yell at us in the comments, But,
Dark Knight is 2008.
Yeah, there you go. See, comments, don't calm down. But yeah, like if I could see Terry McGinnis, that would be really cool. Batman Beyond, like at some point, that would be really cool. And then, like you said, completely agree. DC has kind of finally found its stride with its recent movies. Like Birds of Prey might be one of my favorites that they've ever done. Like that was so good. So I feel like now that they kind of got an idea, and now with this multiverse aspect where it's like, oh, we could still do all this random stuff, but we could keep it in the concept of, well, that was Earth 15 and that was Earth 89, and I think them unlocking this potential for the multiverse, which again we've saw with Crisis on Infinite Earths. When Ezra Miller's Flash met Grant Gustin's Flash, all this multiverse stuff is maybe working in their best effort, or in their favor. So I think it opens the doors for more standalones where it's like we could just tell the story and just be like, well, it's in the multiverse.
Yeah, and looking back on Crisis on Infinite Earths, I mean, we both haven't seen it, but from the people that have watched it, David Ramon, who does the podcast with us from time to time, he hated it. He said it was terrible. The concept of it, though, I think may have given head Warner Brothers, oh, we can do it this way and not have to sacrifice telling another Bruce Wayne story and including it into the DCU, and maybe, do we take Robert Pattinson and move him into Ben Affleck's Batman role? No, you don't have to do that. That could be in a different Earth. Both can be in different Earths. And then you just take this Michael Keaton Batman and you build a new Batman or Batgirl, which they were going to do anyway. And you build that up, and then you have them take the mantle up for X amount of years, and then you introduce either Batgirl or Terry McGinnis later, maybe in the back end of this decade. So there's a lot of different avenues that they can visit. I'm very excited. And as you can tell with all our videos that we've been doing lately, I want to say this is the 8th one. I want to say about 5 or 6 of them have been on DC, which if you guys listen to our podcast, our regular audio podcast, which you can catch on every major podcasting platform, people criticize us because we are too Marvel heavy. And this is a good time for DC. I'm glad that good stuff is coming out about their film universe, and I'm very excited. We have a lot of exciting things to kind of look forward to. And the funny thing is, Marvel is on the other side of this, where they have a bunch of projects lined up, but there's no real established characters beyond Spider-Man and maybe Captain Marvel and Black Panther. You're kind of sitting there like, oh, I hope this is successful. I hope this works. And DC, on the other hand, has Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, possible what's it called, Gotham City Sirens. You have a Batman movie that everyone's excited for, another Wonder Woman movie that's coming at the end of this year. So they're in a good place right now.
Oh yeah, I mean it shows with all just the news that we've been talking about. There's just so much going on and so much happening, and then obviously we talked about it in one of our previous videos, the DC Fandom event that's happening in August. The Flash is supposed to be there, so I would imagine maybe a Michael Keaton appearance at some point. Like, I mean, there's a lot of more excitement to that event. They're just doing so much right now and announcing so much that it's just lending itself to discuss. I mean, it's exciting stuff for DC and what they're doing right now.
Yeah. And if you guys have any thoughts, or if you think we're stupid or completely wrong, please leave a comment. And please subscribe, hit that bell.
Slap that bell right there.
Ding, 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 ding. And you can follow our audio podcast. We drop 2 a week on every major podcasting platforms. And it's at Comicast. And thank you guys for tuning into issue 8 of Comicast. Until next time.
See ya. See you in the Batcave. Bye.
Later.